If you do need a copy of that, it'll be on our website a little bit later. Once again, I'm Doug Morris. I'm the president of CSI, and CSI has been around for a while, 25 years to be exact. We are the leading provider of add-on products to the IMIS community, and we do a lot of focus with chapter-based organizations. We have a lot of fraternity, sorority, and honor society clients, in addition to regular not-for-profits. Way back when we started writing products, we created iMerge, which we still say is the most powerful duplicate merge product for IMIS. Then we came up with Meeting Closer because people wanted to close their events and not lose all their detail. iEmail is our #1 selling product. Over 600 IMIS clients have iEmail. Very fast way to store, send, and receive emails. And the cool thing now is you can actually save the entire email. So full CRM capabilities for IMIS. IMAP is our geolocation tool. Our two second best selling products are iImport and Activity Importer Plus for both updating as well as inserting data, user-defined information, as well as usernames and passwords. Our page filter product, because there were things that Public View and Rise just don't do, or some things they do that you can't turn off. Page filter creates a nice, easy way to keep track of all of those changes you're making. It's very easy to drop JavaScript on a page, and it's also even easier to forget which pages have little bits of JavaScript on it. Page filter keeps all that in one area. If you're using fundraising and you don't have freeze, something's wrong with you. Contact us. This was created when I showed a client how easy it was to change the ID on a gift. It was 11 simple steps and took 12 minutes. With freeze, that's less than 12 seconds, and that includes logging in. Our documentation product, because everyone seemed to lose their IMIS administrator at some point, and that person took all of the information with them, which was bad. And finally, ICE, our interactive chapter experience. Once again, primarily for fraternal organizations who need to track their username, allow their chapters full access to update rosters, to add members, to change leadership, and more importantly, to run reports. But while we're here for CSI Donate, right? So CSI Donate is a single-page online giving solution. When we created CSI Donate, we said, hey, getting the donation is the top priority. So many systems today focus on everything but the donation because somebody wants something. Really, we want to get the donation. Everything else is secondary. You do need to have a couple things from IMIS. You need to have the IMIS fundraising module and IMIS online donations. Once you have those modules, staff are going to be able to have a configuration web page, if you will, where they get to create a URL, if you will. They get to make their own donation page. They don't need to have any web experience. They don't need to be anywhere special. They can even be sitting on their couch, and they can go ahead and create a brand new donation page right from their couch. All right. So what happens when they're done creating that page, right? They've got a nice URL. What do you do with that URL? Well, you can drop it on your website. You can drop it in a mass email. You could send it out with a letter if you wanted to in a nice short URL. You could drop it on social media. All these things. So you can have multiple donation pages. You can have one if you wanted to, but really it's about tailoring the donation page to the end user. So what does CSI Donate really do? Well, it writes directly to your IMIS database. So you do not have to worry about importing anything. It's fully integrated to IMIS. When that donation comes in, it's going to match it to your database. And where possible, it's going to insert that donation on someone's record. It can create a new record, but in a perfect world, we're not going to. So if the last name and email entered, and I'm going to cover this 2 more times, I think, and I'm sure someone will still ask the question at the end of the demo, and that's okay. But if the last name and the email are perfectly matched to one and only one record in IMIS, you're going to have that donation added in. You can ask questions too. Does your company do matching? Do you want to be contacted in the future? Anything like that. And the idea is to build the user demographics, and these are all optional. You don't have to do them. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Back to what I said before, it's fully integrated. It's going to use your funds, your appeals, your campaigns, and your IMIS setup, so there's no chance of a mismatch. We have a lot of organizations that have an outside donation platform, and when they go to import it, the fund is wrong, the appeal is wrong, the ID is wrong. This is fully integrated with IMIS so that you're going to get the donation and it's going to go right into IMIS. So we've been working a lot on CSI Donate recently, and we've got some new features. So we've got a brand new responsive design that supports a whole bunch of new styling options through Enhanced Style Sheets, CSS. We have some brand new configuration pages. Well, that makes it easier and cleaner for your staff to do donation page configuration. We added the ability to set the appeal on the donation. It wasn't in there. Thank you, Kappa Kappa Gamma. I don't know if you're on the call. They said, hey, you can set the fund, you can set the campaign, you can set everything but the appeal, and they were right. And we're going to have an email address for you at the end here if you have other suggestions for us that we'd like to add. So thanks, Kappa. If you are a current client of Bill Highway, you can now accept recurring gifts. And finally, we have a full behind-the-scenes audit trail. And that's really good because sometimes you say, hey, CSI Donate's doing some weird stuff, and I don't know what's up. And we can go in and look at that and say, oh, I see what's going on. So we've added those. That's something you're not going to see in the day-to-day, but you will see when things go wrong. This is Brittany's slide. I'll give it a minute. So I like this slide. Let's talk about how we avoid duplicates with CSI Donate. So we've got some donation matching, if you will. And we've got different types of visitors that might end up on your page. The first type is the best type because they're anonymous. They just happen to find your web page by a search, and they want to donate. They're not interested in logging in. They're not interested in creating an account. I think always when I do a whole bunch of donations at the end of the year, and I don't like websites that are encouraging me to create an account. It feels like I'm being tied to them and they're going to bother me forever. I want to give them my money and I want to get out of there. So that's sort of the theory behind CSI Donate. So if you are an anonymous record or if you are an anonymous donor, I'm just messing around the internet and I Google your web page and I want to donate. It's going to ask me for my name and address, of course, and it's going to ask me for some details about my gift, how much, and other things. As I said before, if my last name and email address match to one and only one record in the IMIS database, it will automatically add that donation to my record. But what if I'm logged in? And you could be logged in from your website, or sorry, your donor could be logged in from your website, or we actually have an optional login button on there as well. And if you are logged in, well then CSI Donate can do some cool stuff. First off, it's going to automatically populate your name and address information. We don't need to know that. But what it can do is it can also say, I know something about this donor because they've already identified themselves, and I'm going to change some of the giving text. So I might do something like, hi Susan, so for the first name, and then I've calculated how far away she is from the next giving level. And I might say, you're only $750 away from the next giving level. So I can actually have custom text that appears based on the donor going to that page. You can also pass, it's called the net ID. We'll call it ID for easy communication's sake. And that's a nice little thing that I can attach via mass email. And when I go ahead and do that, what's going to happen is it knows I'm Doug Morris. So it already knows my name, it knows my address, it knows everything about that. But it's not going to let me change that information. On the logged in one, I can update that information. So if Susan was logged in, it could go and say, hi Susan, is this your current address? And she could change it. But when I'm passing the net ID, even though it's going to show my information, I can't change it. And that's because I might forward that email to Brittany and say, this is a great organization. You should donate to them. And she goes, great, and she clicks on the URL and it says Doug Morris. And we have a nice big button that says not you, and she's going to click that not you button and it's going to erase all the information. So we've made it really easy for me to donate, and we've made it easy for me to pass on that URL to other people to donate and clear out my info. So what can your staff control with CSI Donate? Everyone hold on, it's the most boring part of the presentation, okay? I think we got 24 different things they can control. Let's go over them. And if you are a current CSI Donate client, pay close attention because there's some new things in here. Our staff can create a donation page that has customized array of giving amounts. 100, 200, 300, 1,000, 4,000, whatever you might want. And I can default a giving amount in there. For you accounting geeks on the phone, you might want to actually use a special cash account. So maybe you want these to go into your foundation. So you can actually do that. You can go out there and say, only show these credit cards that are tied to my foundation. You can control the fund. You don't have to. You could let the end user pick the fund that it's going to, or you can make a specific page for the fund. That fund could be, you'll see it's in there, a given fund. We can do a tree, or we can do based on interests. You can override the campaign code. If you're familiar with IMUS fundraising, you know that a distribution can control a campaign and appeal. Well, we don't want you to have to create a new distribution for each and every donation page. So you can decide that the page you're creating that you're going to post right on Facebook today has a very special campaign code only for donations made on that page. Same thing with the appeal. Thanks again, Kappa. You can override the appeal code. You don't have to have a different distribution per appeal. You might want to control how the batching is done. Notice we keep respecting the accounting folks. They may want to say, I want a batch per cash account. So there's all my Visas, all my Amexes are grouped together. Or really, that's per card type, or I want per cash account. So all my foundation stuff go in one. You get to control that. You can set a batch name. So if you want to see the day's donations, they could all start with CSI Donate if you like. We talk about login and how that can scare people off. You can hide that login button if you want. If you are a chapter-based organization, you can even have the end user tell you what chapter they belong to. And finally, on the first page, like I said, we're going to 10 here, you have a pledge option. Do you want all pledges? No. Yes, I want them to go in IMUS and I'll collect them separately, or I'm a Bill Highway client. I want to use the recurring. Tributes. So your end user could say, you know what, we want to be able to allow tributes. So you can actually do an online donation and set it as a tribute. Tributes are all fine and dandy, but if there's not a notification option, such as who to notify about the tribute, sometimes they can be worthless. A tribute obviously can be a memorial too, and some people don't know that a memorial means the person is deceased. So you can turn on a special message for when they select memorials. They can enter a message regarding the gift as well. Once again, I'm a staff user. These are options with CSI Donate that I can turn on for the page I'm creating. So maybe I don't want them to enter a message on the gift, but maybe I do. How about questions? You know, special questions you might want to ask the donor. Does your employer match gifts? You can change the page header. You don't have to know HTML. You don't have to be a web person. You can actually go out there and change the page header. Same thing with the giving text. This is the one where I can actually be a programmer and do some really cool stuff. But I don't have to be. The giving text could just be like Happy St. Patty's Day or something like that. By default, we're going to give you a style sheet that you already have with CSI Donate, and you can add an alternate style sheet. That's sort of like an add-on, if you will. So maybe I want to have a Valentine's Day one. Maybe I want to have a St. Patty's Day one. Maybe an Ides of March. I can actually have an alternate style sheet that overlays on my standard style sheet to make a very unique giving page. And then maybe I had my web developer go crazy with a CSS page, and she made this incredible sheet that doesn't use any of the base functionality that CSI created for you. And she just went nuts and made it wonderful. You can say, just use this style sheet. Don't use the core stuff from CSI Donate. On the receipt, it says, do you want to make another donation? You don't have to have that on there. We had a client say, wow, they just donated and we're going to ask them for another donation. Don't do that. How about sharing it on social media? I just donated to this organization. How great is that? Same thing with Twitter. The user ID that I talked about, when I'm creating a special donation page, I'm going to normally create a special one for the mass emailing. And then, of course, I want to create a URL alias, yourorganization/donate now. I want to make that real easy. And for all you CSI clients on the phone that are using, all you CSI Donate clients, especially those you upgrading, make sure you turn this on so that this can be easily found from Google. And then finally, when I'm all said and done, I can save this. I'm going to save it as a template. I'm going to reuse it. So we're going to do a demo now. I hope. Here is my CSI Donate template page. This is my admin page that is normally controlled behind a user login. And I can go out here and have a series of templates. And so when I choose that template, it has all of my settings for that template. Or I can say I'm going to create a new template. And we're going to call this one, let's say, Tuesday donation. So maybe I'm going to do a Giving Tuesday sort of thing. So it's made a new template called Tuesday donation. Well, for my Tuesday donation, I want to show these amount fields. I don't have to. I could say, let's not get greedy. The star means the default. 200 is going to be my default amount. But I'm also going to ask for 100, 500, and 1,000. And the all-important 0. 0 means allow them to enter it. And I'm almost positive I read something last year that said, if you allow users to enter the amount to give, they tend to give more than your suggested amount. So just something to be aware of. You've got your cash account group. Once again, this is going to say I only want my foundation cards to appear, my foundation credit cards to show. What distribution do I want out there? Well, I'm going to just make this a single distribution, right? This is going to be my, we'll call it my emergency fund. So all gifts are going to go to this fund. But I can say I want a special campaign code in this case, right? I'm not going to use the default one. I'm going to go out here and this is going to be my Twitter campaign, because maybe I'm going to put this on Twitter when I'm done. Same thing with the appeal code. I can go out there and say this is going to be list A for my appeal code. My batching option, this is my batch name. If I wanted the batch in IMUS to start with CSI Donate, I could do that. All my batches are going to start with that. It makes it nice and easy to find all your donations. Here's my optional login. I'm going to hide that for now. And I'm going to hide my chapter selector. I'm going to allow basic pledges. I'm going to turn on tributes, and of course, I think gift notifications are important, and the memorial notice is important as well. And let's let them put a message on there. And so when you add a gift message, you can put a gift label, if you will, a label for the message. Here are my demographic questions. You get to make these up. These are the demo ones that I have in my demo database, but you get to make up whatever questions you want. They're going to go into a multi-instance table on the donor's record, because once again, they can answer these questions each and every time they donate. So I'm going to say, does your company match donations? And then, hey, kind of important, I'd like to know the name of your company. Down here, I'm controlling my page header. These page headers are set up in IMIS. You get to set up whatever you want. All right, and notice they're in IMIS because I don't want someone going and hacking these, right, putting something really bad. Here's my giving text if I want. As I said, that can actually be a stored procedure down here. And dynamic SQL, where it's actually going to say, hey, thanks again, Julie, you're only 750 away. Here's my alternate style sheet. I'm going to show you that in a minute. My receipt settings, do I want to hide the return? How about a Facebook like? How about a Twitter? My net ID, am I going to use this for a mass emailing? And then here's my alias, right, where I'm going to actually go out there and create a very short URL for the entire thing. So here's the entire URL. It's going to look like this when I generate it. I can actually make it into a nice small URL that might just be my organization/give. I can do that for now. I can save my template, or I'm not even sure I want to save it. I'm going to generate my URL. And as I said, this made a really ugly URL. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like. There we are. I've made my own donation page. I can take this crazy URL if I want, drop it wherever I want, my website, Twitter, Facebook, anything I want, and I can obviously make a shorter version. In this case, I've defaulted to 200, but I can change the 200 if I like. I can do a pledge. This is just going to write a pledge back into IMIS. I can fill out my name information. Here's the tribute type. Notice, choose memorial only if the person you're honoring is deceased. So I can go out here and say in honor of, and now I can fill out my honoree, right? So it's going to be Doug Morris, and then we can go ahead and send a gift notification out maybe to my wife that, well, I don't know why we would notify Mary that an honoree gift, but you can do that. Notice it's optional. Here's my gift message, right? Doug rocks. My payment details, my company questions, what's the name of my company, and I can hit donate. It's going to go right now. But you know what? I don't like this form. I really think the login button should be there. Let's go back to my URL setup. Let's go down here. And what we're going to do is we are going to go and make a couple changes here, right? So the first thing that I just talked about is I want to show the login. So I can make that change. Notice I'm just kind of messing around. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm deciding what my URL is going to look like. And there it is. And now I can actually have an optional member login on there. So I went and added that. By the way, in case you're curious, the new template is, of course, responsive. So you can go ahead and send this out, and they can open it up on their phone and do whatever they want. The new CSI Donate also has the new CAPTCHA on it. We highly recommend you turn that on. The new CAPTCHA is where you've seen it, click all pictures that have street signs on them. And then I'm excited to say Google's got a new invisible CAPTCHA coming out now, where 9 times out of 10 it's not even going to show you the CAPTCHA, and we're going to integrate that as soon as it comes out. So we're really excited about that too. Back here, I'm going to change a couple things. As you saw, I really don't think the gift notification, how about the memorial notice? Let's take that off, if you will. And then let's also ask one more question. Will you be donating again? So I can go out here and do all these fun things, generate a brand new URL. Take a look at that. It's now changed my page down here. Notice it doesn't tell me about using memorial gifts. So that's all in there. And now I've got a new question out here. So I can add on to my questions, do whatever I want. Let's talk one last time about style sheets. So you can have alternate style sheets. Like I said, maybe a Happy Valentine's Day one, a St. Patty's. Here's a mobile one. And this mobile, I'm going to say, you know what, only show this mobile. So in this case, I'm only going to be sending to mobile users. I don't know how I figured that out, but I did. And this is actually a bad example because we're using a responsive donation form now, so it doesn't really matter. But it's a good example of changing and using an alternate style sheet. Watch what happens when I generate the URL and I go to this now. Notice how it's completely different looking. I am not a web person. I can tell you that right now. I'm no magic stuff, but because I had the CSS designed by someone that knew what they were doing, I now have a completely different look and feel for my donation page. So all that's available, and if I wanted to, I could go, wow, I finally got it. It's all perfect. I go down here and I'm going to save my template. Now that I've saved my template, the next time I'm in here, maybe I'm working on something like CSI Test, and I go, you know, that Giving Tuesday was really powerful. So I could actually go out here and say, pull up the Giving Tuesday template. And it's going to go ahead and load that, and it's going to have everything on it. So I can go and choose whatever template I might want. You know, sorry, I called that the Tuesday donation. There we go. It's all switched. So you get to save these templates. You might have several different ones on your website. You might have one on your Facebook page. The story that I like to tell, and it is a true story, when the tornadoes kind of went through the Midwest a couple years ago, one of our clients wanted to do something good for the tornado victims. And true story, she's sitting on her couch and she creates a donation page for the tornado victims. And she's able to do that sitting on her couch, take that URL, drop it on Facebook or Twitter, and by the morning they had, I don't remember the exact amount, it was over $1,000 worth of donations, which is not bad. You go, 1,000 is not a lot, but you know what? She did it in about 4 minutes from her couch, and they were able to help out some worthy causes by the morning. So, kind of cool. There's the demo. If you want to see CSI Donate actually working, you can check out these organizations that use it. And there are more. I'm sorry if I didn't put you on here. But if you type these things into Google, you'll end up getting to the donation page. You might see iDonate in there. CSI Donate used to be called iDonate. We forgot to trademark it. Someone else did. Anyway, we had it first, but we don't have it anymore. But these are some great organizations that, you know, if you want to try it out and go ahead and donate to them, please do. So if you like what you see and you want to upgrade or purchase, I think most people on here are existing clients, just go ahead and reach out to your CSI account manager or email sales@csiinc.com, and we'll tell you how to get on the latest version. If you're like, yeah, it's great, Doug, you're still missing this one thing, you can send an email to support@csiinc.com. We'll log it. We'll look at it. I will tell you we're going to be working on our receipt pages, both online as well as emailed, so that you can customize the receipts. We were going to rush that in. We've got a little extra time, so we're going to be taking a fresh look at that so you can actually control what the receipts look like. So if you're using CSI Donate for multiple entities at your organization, maybe one for your association and one for your foundation, you can have 2 very different receipts. So we'll be adding that. We're going to be doing more with recurring donations. Bill Highway is a great feature. It's already in. It's already coded. I expect we'll support some other platforms for recurring donations this year. The product has just really taken off lately because it's just easy to use, and it's very easy for people to get the donations in, and you don't need to know any HTML. There's our contact information. Feel free to give us a ring or email us. And if there are any questions, now would be a good time to ask them. Oh, in the forum online. Take that as a good thing. We don't have any questions. Sales@csiinc.com is a great way to ask those questions. My email address, which is not on here this time, is dmorris@csiinc.com. I'd love to hear from you as well if you have some ideas. But if you email to support, you got a better chance of me not losing it. So I want to thank everyone for giving us time today. Appreciate you the last 32 minutes of your day, and I hope you have a great day. And if you're up here in Illinois, enjoy the storms. Thanks again.